If you're like me, doing everyday tasks can be overwhelming, boring, and grueling. I'm going to show you how to align your mind, body, and purpose to start having fun in everyday life, and possibly even achieve flow state. Hey everyone, buddies. The last video, we got into my basic framework for achieving flow state, which is peak performance. Now, I mentioned I believe there are varying levels of flow state, and you cannot be at the maximum level all the time. But you can definitely increase your baseline to be in some type of flow state more often. And flow state isn't just about performing amazing, it's also about maximizing enjoyment. So in this video, we're going to apply performance training methods I've developed from my years of being on stage to everyday life, specifically my ECC method, which is enjoyment, challenge, and consistency. This will help you have fun and even love doing anything and everything. We will discuss your mind, body, and purpose. We'll look at them separately, but understand that they all inform and help or deter each other. They are intrinsically connected. And at the end, we'll bring it all together and wrap it up in a nice little bow you can gift to yourself for the holidays.
It's December right now as I'm recording this.
All right, so first is your mind. We just gotta fix the crazy amount of stuff going on in there. We want to make your brain want to do the right thing. At first, this is going to sound like a bunch of crap you've probably heard before about developing habits and productivity type stuff. And I get it. That stuff is crammed down your throat enough, but our goal here is to reach flow state to make everything more enjoyable and automatically gratifying. So bear with me for the first part, because it'll help us get to where we want to go. This will help with like boredom and anxiety, procrastination, generally just help you find fun in life. Because that's what I'm all about here, is to have fun and play as much as you can. So first thing we got to do is organize it all so we can process it better. So think about your life as a whole. You have a lot of aspects that you need to balance. Increasingly in the modern age, we are overtasked with so many things that it becomes difficult to make any choices for yourself. I don't know about you, but I feel overwhelmed all the time. And when that happens, the first thing I do is pull out a notebook and a pen. We're going to split our actions up into categories. Now, I highly recommend writing this down physically. Get it out of your head and onto a tangible thing you can hold. Now, digital works in a pinch, but that opens you up to other distractions, and your brain doesn't compartmentalize properly when everything is done in the same place. For example, your brain sees your phone and it associates it with a million things. It's your calendar, your photo album, music, email, grocery list, multiple conversations between many individuals and groups. You do so many things on this device, it's very difficult for your brain to separate ideas. I know you've experienced it before, where you pick up your phone to read a text or just check your calendar, and all of a sudden, you find yourself on Instagram or TikTok without even thinking about it. The muscle memory and conditioned response is insane, so we want to separate these ideas away from all those other distractions. A physical place to write is much preferred. All right, so personally, I have 4 big categories: human stuff, work stuff, personal creative endeavors, and leisure. You might have different categories. For example, if you have children, you might have a category for their tasks. If you're really into sports, you may have a category for all the leagues and workouts you're involved in, etc., etc. You need to have a conversation with yourself about the categories that are necessary to you. And notice I said necessary. These are only things that you have to have in your life. So first is human stuff. Everyone needs this category. Unless you're an alien creature from space, then it's alien stuff. But even then, this category is for your general maintenance. The things you need to do to exist. We're talking about eating, sleeping, hygiene, general health, both mental and physical. This is number 1, and everyone has it. Because if you neglect it, it will make sure it's prioritized. And trust me from experience, you don't want your body to decide when it will be prioritized. I sometimes have what I call maintenance days, where I take care of my hygiene, cook a bunch of food, eat, clean, sleep, reset my mind. I make no plans, I do no work. It's very refreshing, I highly recommend it. So after that, I have work stuff. Most of us will have this category. It's managing my work schedule and its tasks, pretty straightforward. We'll talk about specifics with career in another video. We're just trying to get an overview right now. So next is my creative endeavors, which is my music, this YouTube channel, learning, and then finally we have leisure. That's just going out with your friends, socializing, reading, video games, scrolling memes on your phone, and this one is actually another category that everyone should have. As humans, we need to socialize and we need unstructured activity. It's important for your brain. We are not trying to list every little thing we do here. This is just a general idea of how our time is split. And within those categories, 2 to 3 big tasks that we need to do often. So now you have your categories. You need to learn to prioritize and balance them. And there is an ebb and flow to this. Sometimes you're going to give a lot more energy to your career than you can to leisure, but you can't do that all the time. And I very often neglect tidying up and general aesthetic things. I don't neglect hygienic things, just the more superficial stuff, like a little clutter, and I might go a few extra days without shaving, stuff like that, because it all needs to balance out or you're going to burn out. Because this is your life. It has to be sustainable. This is not a year or even 10 years. This is a framework for your existence. Therefore, it is required to be sustainable. Side tangent real quick. I constantly hear people being like,
I just gotta get through this year and everything will be better and I can start enjoying my life. And
even I've said something along those lines before, but honestly, why? Enjoy your life now. You can set it up to be enjoyable during the entire process. Live your freaking life, man. Have fun. It's okay for it to take time and develop. You don't need to run yourself into the ground or try and sprint to some arbitrary goal. It's a recipe for regret and resentment. The good old days are right now. You're in them. Appreciate it and have fun. This is a setup for your life. Okay, end of rant. Back to the categories. They will evolve and change over the course of your life, but the principles will remain consistent forever. Now we have our big portions of life divided up and we're balancing them. Now, we can talk about flow state. Look at your categories and figure out what are your favorite tasks within them. Try to pick at least one for each category. For me, with human stuff, I love washing my hair, feels fantastic. Work, I love finding music to play on the radio. Creative, pretty much the entire category, but I'll stick with guitar for now, and leisure, playing video games. That's just for me. But ask yourself about these tasks. Has there been a time where I felt like I was making all the decisions perfectly and getting a sense of complete immersion within it? A satisfaction and pleasure just from doing the task itself, regardless of what it resulted in. Think about that task and break it down into the ECC method. Enjoyment. Why do I enjoy this? What is different about this than the other tasks? Challenge. How does this challenge me and develop my skills? And then consistency. Why do I repeat this task? And do I think about it even when I'm not doing it? When I repeat this task, do I find myself getting better at it? If you can figure out those answers for yourself, then you can apply those ideas to other tasks to make them more enjoyable. So here's an example of how to make a task more enjoyable. Let's take a look at tackling tasks we don't like doing and how we can get into a flow state within them. So first is enjoyment. One thing I do often is pair tasks that I really like on days with tasks I don't like. For example, I love making music and cooking. So I will make time to cook and play some guitar on days that I have to do laundry, and cooking inherently leads to dishes, which I'm not so thrilled about. Or when I've had a long day at work, I'll just relax and play some games or read a book, or just do something that I enjoy to even it out. Now, that's not always possible, because,
life.
But when I'm at a baseline of happiness from doing the more enjoyable tasks, the bad ones don't feel as daunting. So that can help with your enjoyment, but you can also boost the enjoyment of the annoying task itself. Can you experiment with different ways of doing it? Add little fun elements. Can you learn more about it? I find knowing more makes me curious and interested in even the most mundane tasks. For example, I hate doing dishes, but I watched this extremely interesting video about how to use a dishwasher properly, and all of a sudden, I was so curious to experiment with the stuff. I wanted to fill my dishwasher immediately. I like the video because it's excellent and maybe it will inspire you to try some stuff. Challenge is next. Linked to experimenting, but more about pushing your skill level in the task. Can you do it faster, more accurate? Is there a better technique? Can you make your own technique? Like with cooking. I love trying out new recipes, working with ingredients I've never used, experimenting with new flavors. Or something I really hate, folding laundry. I hate it. But I try to fold clothes as accurately and quickly as possible. And I actually looked up interesting ways to fold clothes to try and up my clothes folding game. Can you fold a fitted sheet? I'm still not perfect at it, but I'm improving. And this stuff is fun. It pushes your skills. It makes even the most boring, mundane crap challenging and interesting. And lastly is consistency. Now, a lot of life tasks are inherently repetitive, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's consistent. Showing up is the first and most important step of consistency, but it's not the only step. Whenever I say this, we are never talking about mindlessly repeating the same thing. We're talking about consistently improving. Analyze, evaluate, and execute consistently so you can put those skills into proper practice and develop them. And this part, the consistency, is where the next part of our trident comes in. Your body. We've got your mind less cluttered now, categorized things, and planned on how we're going to tackle it all. Now, we need to execute. You're doing the task that you don't like doing, tried some things, but it's not really working. That might be because you're not doing that last part, which is the consistency. The development of your abilities are very important to flow state. You need to push your skill level and take on more challenge because improvement is key. This is what I mean when I say body. We're not talking about getting jacked and hitting the gym, although that can be part of this. It's more about developing the necessary abilities and concentration in your tasks. Some of this will be related to the mind because, as I said earlier, all these aspects are connected. A healthy mind helps a healthy body and vice versa. So how do we go from hating a task to enjoying it? Let's say you're having a hard time being consistent with a certain task. You're not enjoying it at all. Maybe try applying the ECC method in a different order. Sometimes finding the challenge and making the consistent improvement leads to enjoyment. In general, we like doing things we're good at. It is certainly easier the other way around if you can already find things you enjoy about a task, but it's not always possible. So let's try and up our consistency and challenge, and hopefully we can find the enjoyment. We're first going to look at your senses, how your body physically interacts with the world. Something I like to do that helps me really concentrate and find more boring tasks interesting is to focus very intently on one of my senses. I do this with many tasks. Washing dishes, sometimes I focus on sound. How does every dish clang, the sound of the tap, the squish of the sponge, or how do the fabrics feel in my hand? Pick apart the smells and the detergent. It can be a little weird when you notice how much information is actually sent to our senses without us realizing. But I find it can take something very mundane or routine and elevate it into an experience. This also helps you focus, which will activate more of a flow-like mental state. So ask yourself, as you learn to focus easier, do you find that you're getting better at these tasks? Faster, more efficient? Can you hear more sounds, notice more smells? How has your body developed? Are you stronger or more dexterous, more capable of doing the task? Harder, better, faster, stronger. Back to the fitted sheet, it freaking drives me nuts. But I have definitely become more adept at finding the corners, making sure it's creased in the right way to fold it neatly. I'm still pretty bad at it, but it's getting better. So I don't usually write down my evaluations, but you can if you'd like. It's probably a good idea, honestly. But personally for me, I find it's good enough to ask myself all these questions either during or immediately after the task, just in my head. A quick analysis and evaluation of what improved, what didn't, and what I might want to try next time. So if you're able to implement these ideas, you should find yourself getting better at tasks. And this is especially great for things you hate doing, because you will get them done easier and quicker. Or you'll end up like me and waiting for the dishwasher to fill up so you can try out all the weird stuff you learned. But you can do all of these things correctly and still feel lost. Do you feel like you have a lack of clarity and have a hard time making certain decisions? Well, that's where your purpose comes in. And purpose pertains to clear goals, like the purpose of your task, but also the purpose within your life as a whole. Why are you doing this thing? And because you have to is not a valid answer. You have to be more specific. Like, why do I cook? Because I have to eat. Duh. Well, yes, but that's not a complete answer. There are other ways to get food without cooking. I could eat prepared meals, takeout, processed foods. There are a lot of other options other than cooking. So why do I cook? Well, finding healthy, prepared food is too expensive with my current budget. I find joy in creating with my hands and trying new things. I feel accomplished when I eat my own creations, and sometimes you do something because it makes you feel good. Even if you don't know why it makes you feel good at the moment, it's totally valid to just say to yourself, I feel good when I do this. And you can explore it further as to why you think that is later. So use that to figure out the purpose of your task. But what's the purpose of it in your life? I know that's an extremely heavy question, and the answer is ever evolving throughout existence, but it's an important question to at least ponder upon from time to time, because you always have a choice. There are no rules. There are only results and repercussions to your choices. You can do whatever you want, which is kind of terrifying and gives a lot of people choice paralysis. So this is why your purpose is important. It's an overarching goal that informs your choices and priorities. It brings clarity to your decisions. Now, this purpose can be very simple. It might be your career, but it doesn't have to be. You may hate your job, but you have to do it because otherwise you'd lose your home and starve. Totally valid. That still doesn't need to be your purpose. Do your best to find the joy and fun in your job, even if you hate it, using some of those techniques we talked about before. But shift your purpose to aspects outside of your career. For example, I actually really enjoy my job as a radio producer most of the time, but it's still not my purpose. It does not inform my decisions. I know my purpose is to create stuff, either art or entertainment or educational things, whatever it is. I just want to create anything that will make the world a little more fun and hopefully better. And every decision I make in my life is to facilitate that. I will turn down certain opportunities and requests because I find they don't help me achieve my life's purpose. It also informs the type of people I want to spend time with, what I do in my spare time, and how I use my disposable income. Maybe you don't know what your purpose is right now, and that's okay. Start exploring. And this doesn't need to be set. Sometimes an opportunity comes up that is intriguing, and even if it's not directly related to my purpose, I explore it. And don't let anyone else tell you your purpose. It's easy to get wrapped up in these ideas you see on social media or expectations set upon you by friends or family that you have to be rich or famous, and if you're not ambitious, you're a loser. Take that promotion, even if it's gonna cause you a ton of stress. Always strive for more. That may be legitimately their dream and purpose, but not yours. A purpose for providing for your family and enjoying a simple, quiet life is perfectly fine. Or even just a purpose of taking care of cats on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. As long as you're honest with yourself and that's what you actually want, it doesn't matter. Have conviction in your choices to fulfill your purpose. To remind ourselves when we get frustrated on why we should continue. And to apply factors that are important or that we enjoy to tasks we don't like. And here's the bow on the package that is this video. Your purpose is your North Star. It guides your mind to make automatic decisions, and it becomes easier to find the fun and joy in everyday tasks because they stop feeling pointless. As those decisions are made consistently, your body will improve and you'll be able to tackle all sorts of tasks with ease. That's when your mind, body, and purpose all align. It will become much easier to enjoy every aspect of life and sometimes even achieve flow state, even in the tasks you're not so crazy about. And remember, above all else, have fun. Some important additional notes. As always, these are based on my experiences. What works for me may not work for you, but try stuff out and see how it goes. Do these things slowly. Don't try and jump in and make every task you hate into some awesome flow experience. It's not realistic and you will be disappointed. One thing at a time, find the joy in the little things and slowly build up your skills and passion for everything you do. Even as someone that's implemented this into my life for years now, it's not going to work 100% of the time, and I also don't apply it 100% of the time. There are still days that I hate even getting out of bed, and it's extremely difficult to find the joy and fun in life. It's normal, it happens, you'll find it tomorrow. I've definitely had a lot more fun days as I develop these skills and remember to apply them. I've become a lot happier and more fun as I've gotten better at this stuff. It's a lifelong journey and we are forever students. And finally, just remember to be honest with yourself about what you can realistically accomplish. Would you expect someone to do the same amount you're doing? This stuff isn't going to happen immediately. Remember, this is for your life. Play the long game. Do you have any tips on how to make everyday life more enjoyable? Have you tried any of this stuff before? Have you experienced flow state in a task you generally disliked in the past? Let me know below because I want to eventually compile a bunch of tips from people on different topics, try them out, and document my journey. Also, I created a little worksheet to make life a little easier for you. The link is below. It's completely free. You don't even need to give me your email or anything. All right, I talked enough for today. I'm Faz. Thank you for watching, as always, and have a great day. And remember to play.